Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fit for Purpose podcast. My name is Jacob. This is my friend Brandon. And before we get any further, I'd like you guys to please hit that subscribe button. Make sure you're getting notified every time we drop a new episode.
Yeah, and on this episode, we have a very special guest. Most of the time, you're just listening to Jacob and I go at it, but this time we've got a really special guest, my friend Adam Everett. Adam is on mission to help impact men to create a life of purpose and using fitness as that avenue. He's been the owner and founder of Desert City Classic, which is one of the biggest CrossFit competitions in the state of Arizona. And he's also launching a really awesome project called Ndure. You don't want to miss this.
Yeah, so join us for this episode and make sure, again, you guys like, subscribe, and follow along. Why am I in the gym? Why am I trying to get fit? Is it to look a certain way? Is it to feel a certain way? Is it to fill some void that I have?
Be the responsible person and people that we need our society to be. No.
Now we're preaching.
Come on,
now we're talking.
Yeah, we have to.
Well, we've got my good buddy Adam here. Adam is a friend. Man, we met years ago, which just a random connection through someone that I worked with that you knew. And then here we are years and years later doing totally different things, but connected through fitness. And so I'm just here to have a conversation around how we've made an impact in our communities, and you specifically more so. We want to highlight you through using fitness as a tool. So I'll let you share more, man, but it's so good to have you.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, welcome.
It's cool that, going full circle with relationships. And I feel like, moving to the Valley in 2019, didn't know anybody. And so, Emery being able to introduce us, and you were just getting into like working out and CrossFit and all that. I remember
I was just a scrawny little guy at the time.
30 pounds ago.
Your skinny
Straight
jeans
up.
and stuff. Yeah, bro. Yeah, you had to, everybody starts somewhere, But it's cool to be able to take those relationships along the way and just see how they, go into fruition. And fitness has been a huge part of my life for as long as I could remember. You know, it's like I remember when I was young, my mom actually led aerobics, a bunch of ladies in my kitchen. And
in your house?
In my house.
Oh,
yeah.
that's
Like
cool.
she would have, so back in like the 80s, 90s, there was like these slide, like, I don't even know what you would call them, but like these like slide decks that you would have these little footies on.
Oh, yeah.
And
Those are still actually big, even in the strength and conditioning scene.
I know what you're talking
those are
about.
sick.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So she would have those lined up and have a bunch of ladies over, and they'd just be getting after
That's
it.
awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah, man. And my mom, like, my dad worked out. Like, I mean, I would say he took care of himself in some ways, but he was a big golfer. And so he was more outside and those types of things. But it was really my mom that got me into fitness and really inspired me, took me to the rec when I was young. And I just wanted to get big. It was like,
It's the unlikely story, man. The unlikely hero.
Yeah.
Mom.
I mean, similar for me too, honestly.
Yeah.
Really?
But yeah, it's crazy how those things leave an imprint on you where you just like normalize, like, oh, just working out is just like something we do.
Yeah.
And then you carry that forward.
Absolutely.
When did you start lifting then?
I was probably in like 5th grade.
Oh, nice.
When my son reminds me all the time. He's like, Dad, I started when I was in 1st grade and you started in 5th grade. So
he's got a head start.
I'm going to be stronger than you.
Growth plates back then. And like there was a lot of like false talk about how that was going to damage.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I remember like the first bench I had was like those like really compact plastic plates, with a really skinny bar and really skinny bench. And yeah, dude, I mean, it was ghetto for sure. But yeah, I mean, like I was always a small kid growing up. I mean, I could never gain weight to save my life. And all the way up actually through high school, I would try to, I mean, my mom would make me, mounds of pancakes and eggs every morning. Like I would lather up peanut butter and syrup just to get calories in. I was very active, played sports, I played 3 sports through high school, played college basketball. And so like, it's always been a part of my life. And, but when I was in, I was just scrawny and like, I wanted to, I wanted to play football. I never really could. So I stuck to basketball but it's funny, like how, fitness has just really carried through. Like you mentioned, it's just at an early age, I was formed in that, and patterns, stick with you. And I see that with my kids now today. Like I love having my garage gym and being able to have them come out and work out with me, doing workouts as a family and things like that. And so I just want to continue to instill those values within my kids.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what our message is about with the podcast, with the show, is like fitness is so important and we love it and we pursue it as a passion and just something that we enjoy. Mm-hmm. But it's not like fitness for fitness sake.
Right.
It's okay. How is that a vehicle? How do we take that and use that to like better ourselves so we can have broader impact?
Absolutely.
And share that with family, community, and just show up as better people. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I think we can all say like that was a defining moment for you in your time as an adolescent. You're perceiving mom doing fitness, and this becomes now a normal thing. Like one of the things like I preach as a coach is like, genetics aren't to be blamed for where we're at. A lot of it is habits, lessons that were taught early on that are then carried into later life. And if you have an example of that, of someone who's pursuing fitness, pursuing health, that will then carry into like, obviously it's made a grand impact in your life. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, environment is everything. I love this quote: leaders don't drive results, they steward environments that produce fruit. And for us, like we're stewarding environments, whether it be in our home, in our gym, in our workplace. I mean, wherever we are, we're stewarding an environment that produces the right type of fruit that we want. Mm-hmm. You can do all the things. I mean, like I'm no gardener by any means, so I'm going to use this reference and have no clue what I'm talking about. But
actually, Jacob is a botanist, so he's going to.
That's great.
Part-time
in my free time.
His orchard at home. I'm just kidding.
Just like cannabis plants, but
yeah, exactly. That's awesome. But you can plant, put something in the soil. You can do all the fertilizer, all the water, get the sunlight, all the things, right? And like at the end of the day, you can't force that thing to grow. Like you do all the things correctly, you can't force it to grow. And so but the right type of environment. So if you have, I mean, again, I don't know my references, but like an orange tree is not going to grow well in. I'm sure there's not orange trees in like Alaska, right?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I don't know, man. They grow in Florida, and I actually heard that it was colder in Florida this week than Anchorage, Alaska. Dang. So I don't know.
So maybe.
I'm just kidding.
But the right environment, right, produces
Absolutely.
the right type of fruit.
Yeah.
And so, the whole point is just like your environment really does either serve you well or it derails you into another pattern. And so, whether it be like, for me, it's like, you're exactly right. So my mom created an environment where we were mindful of that. I'm creating an environment for my kids where health is a value for us. And they can see that. They can, not just by the way I speak about it, but the way that I actually embody it. And I think that's huge.
Yeah. And one of the things we talk about too is like attaching deeper whys to what we're pursuing. If it's fitness related, like, do you feel like for you've created now a deeper foundational why because you watched your mom do that? Like it now for you is a driving force. Like I know for me, my dad was the one that was like hitting the gym, making the protein shakes, like kind of setting that example. And then it became, as I was like a teenager and playing sports, like we would go to the gym together, and it became this thing where it's like, that's my dad and I's time to relationally bond together. And then it kind of stuck with me from there. So I don't know, do you feel like there is something for you in that?
I mean, yeah, I think every season there was something, right? So like when I was younger, maybe it was a little bit more vanity, but like I wanted to look apart, right? I wanted to look a certain way and feel a certain way and perform a certain way. Like when sports, I knew like if I didn't work out, like I was going to get roughed around, especially in college. I was still trying to like develop into that, that basketball player that I ultimately wanted to be. And so there's a why there. And then, you go through your 20s and you feel like you're sort of, untouchable. And you can eat and drink and do all the things that you feel like you can do, right? And it doesn't really affect you. But I was so unhealthy, overall in my 20s.
Mm-hmm.
I'd work out constantly. I mean, I was in the gym all the time, doing back, bi, chest, tri, like doing the whole thing, right? But it wasn't until my 30s, it was actually my 29th birthday, my wife gave me the pregnancy test, the positive pregnancy test. That was like her birthday present to me of my daughter, Olivia. And it was just this wake up call of like, holy crap, man. Like I'm going to be like, I will turn 30 right before or right after she's born. And so she was born in October of 2014. I turned 30 and right thereafter. And it was just like, I have to do something different. And so I reevaluated everything. And, you know, the biggest thing that really turned it for me was nutrition. It wasn't going and working out harder or doing crazy amounts of, you know, Metcons or anything like that. Actually, I wasn't really into CrossFit. I was doing a little bit of CrossFit at the time. But it was a deep dive into like, what am I putting in my body and how is that serving me and how is that fueling me for a purpose or for fitness or whatever it is. And so I really found at that stage, you know, my life was like, man, I'm eating a lot of junk. And so I cut soda like cold turkey. Like I haven't touched it since I was 29.
Nice.
Not one drink, you know, and it's like, I cut alcohol for a while and I've done that back and forth for over, you know, a decade. Just recently, alcohol free since actually a year now.
Nice.
Which is cool. So, and it's just, yeah, man, it's just, but it's like, it's not serving me well. And so why am I doing it?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, nutrition was a big part of that.
That's the bigger picture too, that I love that you're jumping into this is like, you were already smashing workouts from the time you were 14, 15, 16 through your 20s, right? The motivation to get to the gym and crush hard workouts was there. But at some point we like mature and that expands to, okay, am I like, why am I in the gym? Why am I trying to get fit? Is it to look a certain way? Is it to feel a certain way? Is it to fill some void that I have? Or am I truly looking to take care of myself in a holistic way?
Absolutely.
And then that's where we get into like, okay, we have to actually take a step back and evaluate, okay, how do I get really intelligent and intentional with my nutrition, my sleep, how I'm treating myself, maybe like my psychology, analyzing some of those things, and like seeing fitness, quote unquote, as like the vehicle, the like foot in the door to this whole approach of like taking care of ourselves fully and honoring ourselves, right?
Oh, dude.
And then translating that forward and helping be an inspiration to other people with that.
That's so good, dude. I mean, yeah, it's like, you know, I think about, there's so many things that you're saying there with, as it pertains to nutrition. That's, I mean, there's a reason why big food companies put the crap that they put in their food. It's very addictive and it's getting you hooked and you don't realize. I remember the first time I did Whole30, which is elimination and then reintroduction protocol. And it was alarming to me. Like it was the first time I'd actually read ingredient lists. You know, it's like, holy crap, everything is crap, you know, and you're just like, and you thought it was healthy. Like I did, at least. Like marketing does a really good job at disguising what, you know, what we would think is healthy. And it's like, it's just not.
Yeah.
And that's like all the rage even right now. Like you could walk into any supermarket and you're seeing everything on the shelf that says high protein. Right. And then it triggers us in our brain. Well, it has protein in it. So it's healthy, right? It's like to the average individual that isn't doing the deep dive on the ingredients and all those things. They just see that big label and they're enticed. And then, and it's a 1000% just a marketing strategy for these companies to make more money. But
yeah, be high protein or gluten free or organic. And then you look at the ingredients list. You're like, what the?
I just like my dad brought over these. Have you heard of like the supplement company like Bucked Up? Yeah. So it's like a pretty big, but they have this like clear protein drink now. And I thought this was the funniest thing because like on the label of the protein drink, it says like gluten free. It's like, yeah, no shit, dude. Like, or they harvested grains to make this thing. Like
they throw that on everything. Now
everything.
Gluten-free.
But if you don't know, I think it's like you took that step of awareness to be like, oh, I'm checking this out.
And so what I was going to get at to that point is like not only the awareness of what is in it, but what is it doing to my chemicals that are putting into my body that are making me want that thing more and more and more, right? And so when I'm feeling sad or when I'm feeling, angry or when I'm feeling like you feel all these emotions, throughout the course of the day, and you're wanting, seeking, craving comfort. And people turn to all kinds of different things in which to, suffice that or to really pour into that and like, eliminate that. And it's like, and a lot of people, it's food. It's easily accessible. It gives you a good dopamine hit, and so these sugars that are constantly in things, it's like, and I didn't realize how much I was, in bondage to those things as I was in my 20s and early 30s. And so like, eliminating those things when I did the whole 30, it was like, oh wow, like you go through like sugar detox, like dang dude, like there's a whole bunch of crap that I had in my body I didn't realize, and I didn't realize what it was doing to me emotionally and psychologically and mentally. And so it's not just what what's happening in my in my form, what's happening in my mind and how it's affecting my sleep, and you just go down the line. It's like wow, it's really impactful. And so yeah, just being able to understand that a little bit more and navigate that in a way that's, at least you have the information, right? So now I can be able to put something in my body and say, okay, I know what this is going to do. And I have control over that versus, just grabbing something to grab something just to cope with.
Doing it unconsciously and not being aware.
Right.
Then you can start to build that relationship between, okay, what am I eating and how does it make me feel? And you're starting to build a relationship between your mind, your conscious awareness, and your physical body, because it's always giving us cues, right? It's always giving us feedback to like, it's responding to the things that we're doing. Sometimes we just don't make the connection, right? So as we grow in maturity and awareness, or our consciousness grows and we start to become more aware of how the things that we're doing, whether it's maybe going too hard in the gym or eating something that our bodies don't agree with, how those things affect us or affect our sleep. And so we start to build that awareness over time. And we see that it's all connected, like you were just talking about.
It's like flipping the switch too, like with nutrition specifically, like you were someone that had these like goals in the gym. Like you wanted to get bigger, you wanted to lift more weight, you wanted to feel good when you're like in there doing your thing. And it's making that clear distinction that like, oh, if I just, you said the word fuel, like if I fuel my body better, then the performance gets better. Like, and it's like, you can't do what you can't, it's the chicken or the egg or what you can't have your cake and eat it too. There's like a ton of ways to say that. You can't perform really well in the gym if all that you're putting in is a poor signal.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, like we touched on it, but alcohol is a big thing too. It's like my sleep is so important to my muscle growth and to my longevity and to my overall health. And yet, like, you can I don't care who you are, crush a workout, eat like crap, drink like crap. You're not going to get the results that you want. And, I just didn't realize that until, later on, in my 30s when I started really taking a deep dive to that. And, so it's all intertwined. It's like understanding that, having awareness, having a bigger why with my daughter being born. And to kind of go full circle, it's like, you had the environment when I grew up that stuck with me. Basketball was over in my 20s. I stopped playing. I started doing more like vanity workout, trying to get fit, but then drinking and eating like crap, not seeing the results, getting depressed, anxious, frustrated about, where I was. Yeah. And then having a wake up call of like, oh man, I'm going to have a daughter. Like, I'm not fit. I'm not an example, a role model that I want for her in my life. I'm not the husband that I need to be right now. I'm depressed. I'm anxious. I'm mad at the world. And it's like, where's all this coming from? And you would chalk it up to all kinds of things. The last thing I would say, and most people would say, is like, what are you eating? Or is it your food?
Yeah.
And it's like, is it your sleep?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we just don't think like that all the time. We want to put it on something else, like spiritual warfare or some bullshit like that. Yeah. And it's like, No.
No, like
There's actual things that are going on that you can control. And the thing that you can control is what you put in your mouth.
I love that you said that, dude. Is that I don't know that people give themselves enough credit to being the owners or the drivers of their own vehicle. Like, so many people are going through life pointing the finger at all the other things, all the outside noise. But like, I mean, we talk about that all day long on our shows, that like you get to have control of the things that you have control over. Like, take ownership. Yeah,
absolutely.
I love this story arc. So you were influenced by your mom at a young age to be into fitness, college basketball, into your 20s, kind of, staying consistent with the gym and crushing workouts, but doing it in, a semi-unconscious way. And then your daughter comes along, inspires this awareness, this consciousness that you're not where you want to be. And that propels you into this kind of next stage of your fitness journey, your wellness journey. From there, how do we get to where you are now with, with the CrossFit event that you've created and the company that you founded? Like, walk us through, your 30s into where you're at now and how that journey kind of kept expanding.
Yeah. I mean, so I explored, nutrition, got into that. I've been a pastor for my whole career. So worked at a church, been a pastor, and I started helping people with their nutrition, started nutrition coaching. And it was really cool because I thought I was just like giving them macros and giving breakdown on what to eat, what not to eat, all those things. Right. But the reality is it was a lot more counseling and a lot more.
You find that when you start coaching people.
It's interesting. All the hats that you wear.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I felt like in a lot of ways I was more of a pastor in that environment than I ever was in the church world. Because there's a front that people put on in, sort of religious institutions and churches. And it's like, basically I have all my shit together when they, obviously don't, but there's this play, right, that people have. And, for whatever reason, like outside the walls of the church, like there was a really cool, just like, yeah, man, I'm really struggling with X, Y, Z, and just sort of vulnerability that I was not ready for, to be honest. And so it was like really cool to be able to journey with people in that way. I started training a group of guys at a Globo gym that had a little CrossFit section. So I literally would just go and on the, CrossFit.com and work out of the day. And I would just put some stuff together, and it was funny, man, because you had all these people, like ladies coming in at 5:30 in the morning, just doing their, back by, chest try, all that stuff. And here we are just doing all kinds of crazy stuff over in the corner. They had this little CrossFit section, and but it was really cool. It inspired me to continue to work with men, especially. And so even in my early 30s, I started working with guys, training with guys, got into CrossFit. Actually, it's funny is I had been introduced to CrossFit when I was in my later 20s by a student. I was in youth ministry, and a high school student I was discipling, he was like, "Hey man, you want to come to CrossFit with me?" And he was like this scrawny little kid. And dude, I was like, he was kicking my ass. And I'm like, "Bro, what are you doing?" And he's like, "I'm doing CrossFit." And so he's like, "Come on, let's do a couple workouts." And so I did some workouts there, and then that's kind of where I got introduced to that. So in my 30s, started training people, and really just an avenue to connect with guys and just really be able to do some hard things, talk life. All of us were kind of in that same boat of early having kids and things like that. So it was really fulfilling from that standpoint, and more fulfilling than, I shouldn't say more fulfilling. It was just different than the conventional church world that I was accustomed to. And I think just that environment, steward those environments, it produced the kind of fruit that I was wanting and I was craving as a follower of Jesus. Like I wanted that for other people, but I wanted to be holistic in nature. I found that so many times there was compartmentalization to my physical, to my spiritual. I'm like, no. Like,
now we're preaching.
Come on,
now we're talking.
We have to. Those can't be divorced. And I just like, it was losing my ever loving mind, because I'm like, again, yeah.
No, I 1000% relate with that. Having worked in church myself, like and I would agree with your testament to being able to do more ministry outside of the walls of the church. Like in running my business, it's the same way. Like, I mean, I feel like, you know, whether it's obedience to what God is doing in and through me, but I feel like I've been able to meet people where they're at and they've come to know Jesus because of just conversation, relationship, all those things. Like, yeah, you said like putting up a front, like people do that constantly when you're in that space, and you can't go deep enough almost. It's like, I work for a church, so I don't want to like have conversation around pornography or your adultery that's happening or your drug use that's happening or things like that. Cause like people are afraid. Like, and it's funny how like you get in a gym and it's like, oh, this is a little raw. This is like rough and tough. And we can start talking about like real stuff.
Well, and you can't hide. Like
you can't.
You can, you know, your clients are the same way. It's like, you know, if they're putting in the work, regardless if they check the boxes on Trainerize or not. Like, you know, they come in and you're like, you're gassed. Have you been putting in the work? Have you been feeling your body? Have you been doing this, and this? And it's like, no, you haven't.
We'll do that in-body check-in, and if nothing's changed, like,
yeah. And so it's like, but you know, with other things, right? Like emotional, and I would say spiritual, emotional, though, that type of realm where you can't, it's harder to identify or see. You can see if people are like angsty or anxious or stressed or, you know, depressed, you know, there's ways around it, but for a lot of ways, like people just hide and they put on a front and you're like, dude, no, I know, man. It's okay. Like, let's just be real and talk about what's going on. So,
and when you start moving and sweating and you're in that, like you're under the bar, like those things come out. Whatever you're trying to hide, whatever you're trying to like hold within, like at least for me and my experience with some of my clients is like, once we get moving and once we get sweating, you'll be surprised at like sometimes the emotion that moves or sometimes the things that people share, just because something about the physical activation of the body is just like starts moving energy and starts flowing. And like you said, there's nowhere to hide, right? Like you're under the bar and you're struggling and like you want to quit, but I'm pushing you to give a couple more reps. It's like, that's a raw moment where you can't run away from yourself.
Yeah.
You have to either be present with the discomfort or you give up and hurt yourself, you know?
Yeah. And you can see it, man. Like you could see that moment, like where you're like, you gave up on yourself. Like you in your mind, you said, I can't do this.
Yeah.
And then on the other end of that, you can see where like people are like, I believe in myself, and they push it up and they surprise themselves and they're like, oh my gosh, you know, there's a PR or whatever it is. And it's like, dude, like this is in every single one of you. Like every single person listening to this has in themselves an ability and a capability to be far greater than what they can ever, you know, Jesus actually says whatever they you know, you can do far greater things than you could ever think or imagine. I believe that in every aspect of life. And we sell ourselves way too short. And so there's just those moments where it's like, you can't hide, you know, the pressure's on the bar, and are you going to let it just cripple you? Or are you going to push through?
Yeah.
And it's like, there's something about that when that trigger, that light switch, that whatever you want, it flips. And that was a big lesson for me, man. Like, you know, I had a mentor ask me one time, he's like, Adam, do you believe that you can motivate anybody? And I was like, yeah, I can motivate people. Like, what are you talking about? Like, that's like a dumb question. And he's like, what if I told you couldn't? You can't motivate people. And he went on to say, like, you can inspire them, you can challenge them, you can encourage them, but you can't motivate them. Motivation comes from within. And I believe that everyone has an opportunity to, just shock themselves if they can flip on that switch of motivation and become the person that they're intended to be.
Yeah. And I think the gym and fitness in general is such a powerful vehicle for that. Because like we were just talking about with that experience of being in the gym and either stepping up and claiming what you know you're capable of, or shying away and giving up on yourself a few reps short. The gym And fitness in general is such a powerful vehicle for practicing sitting with the discomfort that you're feeling, the sensation that you're feeling, and acting anyways, and just continuing to push through. And, you know, again, there's going to be days where you don't necessarily feel motivated, but in that moment when your legs are burning and you're under the bar, it's like, can you take a deep breath and be present with that discomfort and do the next rep, take the next step?
Absolutely.
Or is it going to shut you down? Right. And so that's like a place where you get to practice just being in that space of
Absolutely.
discomfort and being present with it and continuing to move forward anyways.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I love the power of community. I mean, that's like, you know, it's what got me really hooked with CrossFit. Was the first time that I saw fitness displayed in that closely resembled like a team sport, you know. And I talk to people all the time like, oh man, I could never do CrossFit. I ask them about like their sort of athletic background and things like that. And it's like, oftentimes people have some form of sport background or team background, and they want that, they crave that, especially dudes. Like, you know, I mean, everybody jokes about like, oh, the glory days, you know, back in high school, I did this and this and this, but it's like, that was when you had something like you wore the same jersey. Like it wasn't like you had this pep talk. I talk about this a lot with like, you know, I'll talk a little bit about church a little bit here, but like, you know, it'd be weird if you got into a locker room and you heard, so I'll equate this to like Sunday morning, you know, you go and you hear a good, like coach gives like a pregame speech, you know, you're all like fired up, ready to go, and you never step foot out on the field. Mm-hmm. That's what Sunday morning is, bro.
Yep.
Like Sunday morning is you watching and listening to your coach give a pregame speech, and you never stepping foot out on the field.
You're talking about a church service.
Yeah,
right?
it's the
Okay.
I went, I checked it off the list. I
Right.
feel good that I heard that thing.
But dude, your butt wasn't in the game, bro.
Yeah.
Like you're not in the game.
Yeah.
Like you heard a motivational speech. You heard what your intentions are, what the plan is, what the game plan, the scheme, all the strategies, all the things, right? But like you never actually step foot in the game. And so and you do that week in and week out and week in and week out. And it's like,
Unless you strive to be like backup QB behind Patrick Mahomes, like that's your
I'm on the practice
your
squad.
life goal is
that's it.
400K a year. I'm good, bro.
But that's it's a power of community when you actually like you band together. Like that bond isn't formed in the locker room. It's formed out on the field.
Yeah.
Right. And
having done the reps together.
right.
Yeah.
And that's like blood, sweat, tears, like actually getting in the game. And I just going back to like what you're talking about with the power of community and inspiration and, you know, having people around you. It's like, man, that there's something special about that. And in the fitness world, there's something special about that in life for sure.
So tell us a little bit about, so you got into CrossFit, you had ownership in Insight, CrossFit Insight, which was one of the better gyms. I wasn't a CrossFit guy, but everything I heard was like Insight is the place. But so ownership over CrossFit Insight, which I'll let you share a little bit about that. And then we can get into like even your like hands on Desert City Classic, which is just blowing up.
Yeah, man. So we moved here to plant a church, you know, COVID hit, try to figure out what was, you know, next after that. And, you know, I wanted to do something different, you know, and it kind of really revolved around holistic health. I didn't want to just have the checkbox Christianity, you know, go to church on Sunday. That's where church sort of lived. And
You wanted to get on the field.
wanted to get on the field, wanted to do something, you know, with our faith and also just be able to teach like about fitness and about health and about like mental, emotional, those types of things. And so we had an opportunity to you know, have co-ownership of CrossFit Insight and really see that displayed, you know, in a physical setting as a gym. And so it was really a cool time, special time. I was working constantly on, you know, being a pastor, being in ministry, owning a gym. We started a CrossFit competition where I was a volunteer and helped out with initially, and then it, you know, kind of grew as we owned the gym and we really focused on that. And that's another environment where I would always say like fitness that's not tested cannot be trusted. And so like, you can test your fitness in a competition, and it's just a cool environment where people are like, they just put themselves out there and all eyes are on them, and it's super special. So we started that, and that grew. And so it was like spinning all these plates, and, long story short, I won't get into all the details, but I basically had like a midlife crisis, what I would say. Like I just had a breakdown, and didn't know what to do. I was lost in every sort of the way, and
lost in that you were doing too many things and feeling burnt out.
Yeah, I was doing a lot, and I wasn't caring for myself in a way and loving myself.
Some of that got sacrificed because of everything you were doing externally.
Absolutely. And I think, in the moment of building in my 30s and like having the weight of responsibility of, mortgage and insurance and, kids and school and all the things, right? And it's like, I wanted to do more and more and more. And I thought more was better. And really through coaching and counseling and really deep dive into this was the words that I said to myself was, you're not good enough. It's never good enough, and you can always be better. And that served me well to a point, but it was not lasting.
Yeah.
And so when you look in the mirror every day and you can't love the person that you're looking at, and not even that, like I almost like despise the person that I was looking at. Like, you fraud, you fake, you phony. Who are you to do X, Y, and Z? Who are you to be successful in this way and that way, the other? And just beat myself up every day. And so it was like, you're not good enough. You've never been good enough. You will never be good enough. And that was the words that I continued to say to myself. And so it got to the crushing point where my wife was just like, you got to figure this out, like, or we're going to figure something else out. And it was a wake up call for sure. And so
another one.
Yeah. Life tends to do that for you,
Oh yeah. Cycles.
So I'm grateful for it.
Yeah.
Because I would not be here sitting in this room with you guys if it wasn't for that. And so, sold the gym, kept the competition, and really just tried to figure stuff out. Went to counseling, got some coaching, leadership coaching, and understanding of who I am, how I'm wired, what my strengths are, and really understanding the amount of pain that I was following, or carrying, and failing to recognize was immense. And so walking through all that, and I believe like God uses our broken pieces, and makes them new. And it's like, the shattered pot of clay, and it's like, man, the mending and the resurfacing of that was hard work.
Oh yeah.
It was long, it was grueling, and I wanted it to be super quick and right to the point, but I'm grateful for that season. And so kind of lost my identity in those things that I was achieving, and I deemed a success. And now it's like, I don't have to do this for anybody else other than myself. And I want to be proud of myself. I want to love myself well. I want to love my wife well, love my kids well, and love my friends well, and really hold that as the greatest honor of my life. And so that's propelled me into, Desert City growing like crazy. We went from less than 100 athletes in CrossFit Insight to we had 600 athletes last year.
Let's go.
Just incredible.
In the competition?
In the competition.
Wow.
So we run that comp. It's a CrossFit competition. It's for everyone. We say, regardless of your fitness background, there's something for everyone. So there's a scaled or community division all the way up through like a pro division or elite division. And so we see people that have made it to the CrossFit Games, compete at our competition, and
very cool.
Kind of everybody in between. But the most satisfying thing is just for people to see, it's like their Super Bowl, it's like they train and communities train for that specific weekend, and they're selling out to achieve something within themselves. And I tell people, in our opening ceremony, I tell all the athletes and all the volunteers and and spectators, like, you thought you were coming here for a competition. You know, you thought you were coming here to test your fitness, but I'll tell you, like, you're testing every single ounce of your being. Your mental, emotional, and I believe also spiritual life is being tested. And that's the beauty of the desert, is like, there's no hiding. And so, you know, it exposes a lot of things, and it's a beautiful thing that we were able to do with our family. So my brother-in-law is a co-owner, and it's just a fulfilling thing that we get to do together.
Very cool. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. And, you know, before we move too much further forward, I wanted to ask you, maybe speak a little bit more about that season of your life where you found yourself doing a lot and accomplishing a lot externally, but not feeling fulfilled or validated internally. You know, that resonated with me a little bit, and I just want to get your perspective, because how old are you?
I just turned 40.
40. Okay. Yeah. So you're 10 years ahead of me.
He's just rubbing it in, man.
Okay. So you're 10 years older than me.
It's just pure wisdom. It's 10 years of wisdom. That's what we're getting
that's
at.
where I'm
That's
going, is
going.
like, okay, so, you know, I'm 30. I'm like right around that time where you had that first kind of like awakening, right? So you said at 30, I had that first awakening with my daughter coming, like, I need to change some things. Through your 30s, that awakening carried you to doing a lot more, right? And accomplishing more externally. What advice would you have for someone like Brandon and I, who's maybe, you know, 10 years behind you in our journey, and looking, you know, to continue to grow our careers and accomplish things externally, but maybe it's being driven from that place of like, I'm not enough. I'm not doing enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
What maybe advice would you have, or can you just speak to kind of your experience of that a little bit more?
Absolutely. You know, it's, I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. It's not good enough. You know, those are things that sort of play in your head. The other things are like, kind of like this, like, all right, I'll prove you wrong. You know, you said I couldn't do it. Watch me.
Yep.
You know, hold my beer, hold my NA.
Absolutely.
You know, but and again, those serve us well to a point, but they're not long lasting, and they're not healthy. And so just take an inventory. I think more than anything, it's taking inventory of what you're like. You don't realize how much you talk to yourself. You know, what are you communicating to yourself? And, you know, don't bypass or speed through or just chalk it up to like bad tacos, you know, when there's a thought or a moment or an emotion that pops up into your soul. And you know, I'm talking about like this deep resonating thing, you know, that's like, why did I think that? Or why am I feeling that? And sit with it, you know, take 2 minutes. And, you know, there's a scripture that says, above all else, guard your heart, for it's the wellspring of life. And, you know, there's like these desires that are within us. Take inventory, you know, sit with it, journal with it, whatever it may be that you express yourself. I think there's moments where just sitting for 2 minutes, nothing else,
no distractions,
and just understanding what you're saying to yourself is a huge part of that. We don't do that at all. And so that's been a huge part of my journey, is just being able to sit still and just be, not be distracted, not be working, not be productive, but just be. And so, that, and then, you know, there's a quote, I don't know who said it, but it was, it goes like this. He says, I'm not who I think I am. I'm not who other people think that I am. I am who I think other people think that I am. Okay.
I think other people think. I'm not who
I think I am. I'm not even who I think, or you think I am. I am what I think that you think that I am. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
And so
basically projecting.
I'm projecting what I think that Brandon thinks of me. And so any room that I'm in, we start to posture ourselves and thinking what other people are thinking of me. And we portray ourselves in a particular way. And it's all ego, man. Like at the end of the day, it's just, I want to be this person and be portrayed as this person. I want you to, I'm thinking that you think that I'm this way. And so I'm going to measure up to that instead of being my true self. And when you do that enough, I mean, dude, that's exhausting. It's exhausting. And so to be free and just being able to say, dude, this is who I am. And I freaking love Adam. I love me, you know, and looking in the mirror and just being able to say, Adam, I love you. I'm proud of you. Good job. You know, and it's like, I'm getting kind of chills just thinking about that, but it's like, we just don't love ourselves enough, man. And so that's the biggest advice that I've taken and that I try to do every single day is tell myself that I love you. I love you. I'm proud of you. It's going to be all right.
Cool. Beautiful.
Yeah, man.
Thank you for sharing
that's
that.
well said, dude. I'm ready to run through a brick wall right now for my own sake. That's freaking sick. So I think you're incredibly passionate. You've shared this like about developing men, like focused on helping men, not just through their fitness, but through the stuff we're talking about, like becoming better people. And then how, as we become better people, we can make a greater impact to the community and create that ripple effect. So in that, man, you just launched Ndure. Would love to hear you share a little bit more about your heart and your passion for this new endeavor you're on.
Yeah. It just comes out of brokenness. Yeah. You know, it's like I had to endure. The only way to build endurance is to actually endure. You know, you know, it's funny when you hear that words sort of just resonated with me for the last few years, and you kind of hear people talk in speech and they'll use endure, like, I just got to endure this, man. And the way that they're describing is I got to white knuckle, I got to get through, I got to push through, I got to like escape this as quickly as possible. Suffer. Right. I guess I got to suffer, and a lot of times suffer in silence. I just got to grit it out. I just got to endure this, you know, season of marriage and endure this season of parenthood. And it's like, what?
Like, it doesn't have to be that way.
No. Like, well, in fact, it's like, you know, that's not endure. That's not endurance. Endurance is remaining. It's like, it's being fully present. It's abiding. It's being steadfast. And that's truly what the word means. And so, well, if that's the case, then yeah, I want to endure, not to escape, not to be distracted or desensitized or derailed on any level. It's like, I want to be present, like fully present. And so the way I describe it is like, endure fully to live freely. You want to live in freedom. Well, you got to endure fully, which means your heart, which means your mind, your soul, and your strength. It's every bit of you in every area of your life. And you can't do it in some things, which for me, fitness was really easy for me to do because it was like such a direct outcome or reward, right? If I put it in, I'll look a certain way and I get people applauding that. But every other area of life, you know, they don't quite see that. It's not like people are following me around and seeing exactly how I treat my wife, talk to my wife, love my wife, you know, or my kids. And
I didn't flip that person off in traffic today.
Right,
like,
exactly.
No one saw that.
But it's like who I am in some areas is who I am in all areas. And so it's like, if I truly believe this about myself, then I need to play that out in every area of my life. And so my passion is, man, how many dudes especially are suffering in silence in that way? How many dudes are distracted? Well, I could tell you, because pornography, OnlyFans, all the shit that's out there, it's like the only reason why they exist is because of men. So men need to get their shit together and actually act like a man and stand firm in what they believe in their values and be the responsible person and people that we need our society to be. I heard this stat the other day. It's like more inmates spend more time outside. Current inmates in the U.S. spend more time outside than current 25 to 35-year-old men. Oh my God. Right? Because we're
what a sobering
fixed
stat.
On the screen. We're addicted to. I saw this. The newest addiction is online gambling, sports gambling.
Oh, it's
for young men. It's
massive.
It's massive. So we've just taken one addiction after another, right? So obviously I'm super passionate about that, man. Like men need to step up. We need them. Like we need, we have a lot of older men that get it, that were not tied to their phones. Like I didn't have a phone as a kid. Like I'm in that, again, 10 years older. Like, I didn't have that. Like it wasn't easily accessible. I remember when I was in my mid 20s, like, not having like certain types of services and stuff like that, because I wasn't able, paying for like text messages and things like that. It's like you just weren't always connected. And so like older men understand that. Older men need to mentor younger men. And so it's not the younger men's, I shouldn't say that. They have a responsibility. Paul talks about this, like, there's a communal responsibility of carrying people's burdens. There's a burden to be carried, but then he goes into it. He says, and each one carry their own load. So there's a personal responsibility. There's a communal responsibility that men have to mentor younger men. And there's an individual responsibility for you to carry your own load and understand that this is yours and only yours to carry. So Ndure is that, man. Like we launched, we have two really main focuses. One is gym owners and people in the fitness space to utilize their gym or their platform to make disciples. And when I say that, it's like giving people the hope of eternity that's in all of us. And so it's really, sharing the gospel, the good news of Jesus. And it doesn't need to be like it shouldn't be, it won't be that you just, play worship music and things like that. But it's like who you are before what you do. And then the second is equipping men to be holistically healthy, to, like I said, endure fully, to live freely. And so we're doing that. Every man they need a challenge. They need something to fight for, to push through, to put on give their training a why, to give their training a purpose. They need something big. And so they need a challenge. They need a coach, a mentor. They need, or some form of counseling. And they need connection. We need community. There was a stat a while back that was like, 80% of men don't have one person in their life when things get really hard that they can turn to. And that's a problem. So yeah, man, that's super passionate about it, but that's what we're doing with Ndure. And so we're forming men's groups. We launched another men's group. And then we're having these challenges. We have 30 guys signed up for the Grand Canyon hike, rim to rim to rim.
Rim to rim to rim.
Rim to rim.
Straight through.
Rim. So 3 rims. Yeah,
so back and forth like 50 miles.
Yeah, so 45.
I went rim to rim. Went rim to rim once.
May or may not have gotten that invite.
You did. I think you just
sign up,
left
brother.
me unread, man. It was like
Brandon's like,
this is on me.
No, that's beautiful. That's really cool.
It is super cool, man. And I think there's one thing, if I hope listeners take away is, I mean, you've said it about yourself, like you're passionate about this thing, but I just think ultimately you are a passionate human being. And I love that about you, because like every time I hang out with you, I feel like I'm called to something greater, like seriously. And talking about, what Paul says, and we're talking about the scripture, like he talks about carrying your own load. I think you do that so well because you understand the gravity of what that load is. Like,
thanks, man.
Your family, your wife, your kids, like they are all a witness to you and learning by proxy through you in the way that you live your life. And that comes with gravity. And I think more people need to understand that. And I think that's why we've built this show, is to teach people that, man, fitness can be an avenue for us to show people like, hey, I have the discipline to care for my physical health. I have the discipline to care for my mental health. And like when I feel moments where I'm unwell and I'm saying poor things to myself, like that's not okay. And we should desire more and not live this mediocre, like head down. Like there's so much more to life than just that. And so I think even just hearing you speak today, man, it's like you do that so well. And I think that you're such a great example to men specifically, but just anybody listening in how you live your life. So yeah, bro.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, so cool. You can feel your energy and your passion. And personally, I think enthusiasm is like an underrated like value
Yeah,
in
dude.
our society is like let's be more enthusiastic about just like life, about doing things, right? About making stuff happen and finding things that we're passionate about, you know? And, you know, and on the bigger scale too, of like the spirituality aspect of it is like the realization that, like you were saying, the personal responsibility to carry your load.
Mm-hmm.
As your awareness grows, you realize that you are innately connected to everyone around you, to the community around you, to the world, and how you show up and everything that you do ultimately has an impact on everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me is like the ultimate responsibility, the ultimate personal load that we all have to carry of like, I don't live in an isolated box. Like every choice that I make ultimately has a ripple effect. Absolutely. And it moves outward. So I have to, with that knowledge and with that awareness, be aware of how we show up and how we act.
Absolutely.
And really cool what you're doing with Ndure.
Yeah, man.
That you're having older men mentor younger men and help bring them up. And then also the aspect of like helping men get holistically healthy. Because I think that if we can go after the health aspect and get people healthy, so many other things fall in line. Mm-hmm. Enthusiasm comes back on board. Passion comes back on board, right? Like this desire, this like innate like fire that we have inside of us starts to come back online when we actually get healthy.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. Anything else, Brandon?
Well, I was even just thinking while you're talking, it's the older men leading the younger men, but even too some of younger men leading up too, right? Like it's intergenerational community, which I think is incredibly powerful, because I think what we've seen is the waves of generations come is there's almost like this dichotomy where it's like, I'm older and I was raised this way, I'm over here. I'm younger, I was raised this way, I'm over here. And you're creating this environment where those worlds can collide. Around morals, around belief, around character, around vision, and I think it's freaking awesome.
Yeah,
so,
man.
Yeah. Where can people find you, find what you're doing, get in contact with you? You know, get in contact with Ndure
Ndure Project on Instagram, Adam Everett on Instagram, Desert City Classic, social platforms there. So I'd love to connect and help as any way possible. You know, we want to continue to serve in the best way we can. And we're sold out for Rim to Rim this year, but I think we're going to do an annual thing. I think this is going to be something that we do, at least that challenge, and then plenty more retreats. And we want to do some father-son stuff and father-daughter stuff and things like that. So
cool.
A lot of stuff coming up on the horizon, but excited to continue to serve the community in a particular way that's raising up men to be holistically healthy.
Awesome, man. When is the Rim to Rim trip?
May 22nd through the 24th.
All right. Next year.
Next year.
I know.
Brandon and I are in. Brandon and I are in next year.
I have to do it.
I'm in.
I have to do it.
Yeah.
In.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's go.
We got two. Boom.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, dude, for sharing your story.
Absolutely.
And
Thanks for having me.
if you
Appreciate
are
it,
not
guys.
following this guy currently, go and do it. One thing I know about you is anything you say you're going to do, it comes to fruition. So yeah, super excited to see what comes from this, man.
Appreciate
it's gonna be
it.
awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Yep. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Let's go.